welcome to my new channel. My name's Lyatra and I'm actually part of another YouTube channel with my boyfriend Justin that's called Roadside Explorers, because we're into roadside attractions, theme parks, things like that. So we also have a channel about that, but we're also both really big vintage lovers and we have different collections between us. I've been into collecting a bunch of different vintage things since before I was a teenager, so we have a lot accumulated, and over the past year I've started getting more into people on YouTube who are vloggers, whether they just collect or resell vintage. So I thought it would be cool to make my own channel pertaining to vintage things, like yard sale hauls, flea market hauls, tag-along videos along the lines of Crazy Lamp Lady, Mad Girls Vintage, Real Nifty Vintage. I watch a bunch of different vintage YouTubers, Vintage Vinny and Blue Bus Save. Those are just a few, but we watch them all the time, and I was thinking it would be fun for us to do it ourselves as well. So we have a lot to share with you, and I'm actually going to start by showing you some of the things I've collected the longest, which are pennants. As you can see, this is our kitchen, and I have a lot in here, but I just got a haul of 51 pennants, and I'm not keeping all of them because they're not all ones that I personally like to collect. I'm just going to show you some of them, but before this lot of 51 I just found, I have over, I think it was close to 300 now. I've been collecting pennants since I was probably, I think, 14 or 15, because I just grew up going yard sailing, thrifting, flea markets with my gammy all the time, and I've just always loved pennants. I'll show you my first ones I ever found, which one of the first ones I ever got was rare, and I didn't even know that at the time, but it's a Freedom Land one from New York, and Freedom Land is now a defunct theme park. So something Justin and I really enjoy when we're looking for pennants is to find ones that might not be super desirable to other people, but to us they're pretty desirable because we enjoy the roadside attractions, and especially things that are defunct. It's not like, you're not always sure when you're going to come by them. They're like not super rare, some of them are, but I would just pay more for a roadside attraction pennant that I really love than someone who doesn't know what it is. Like, they don't always necessarily have a bunch of value. So I'm going to get into the lot of these that I came into yesterday, and this whole lot of pennants was found at an auction locally for $10 for 51 of them. And that's pretty good because some of them in this lot are actually valuable, which I didn't know at the time, but I didn't see what all of them were in it before I purchased the lot, but I'm happy that I did. Some of them are still in their protective covering, and are sports ones that are actually more sought after now that I've looked them up online. So I'm just going to get into it. Here is the first one I really liked. It's a Maryland one, and I love the pennants that are more colorful. Like, they don't necessarily have to be neon, but as you can see, I love displaying the more vibrant ones, especially if I think they look good together in one area. As you can see on the state ones, they usually will put emphasis on specific things from each state. So they like to feature like state birds, state flowers, and on this one there's a super cute floral illustration that is anthropomorphic. Has a black-eyed Susan with a face on her. I'm going to show you that closer. So there's that one. I thought that one was super cute. Here's another one that's actually a first for me. I don't have any World's Fair pennants except for a few Canadian ones that I got in a different lot. And this one is super cool to me. It has the colors and the illustration style that I love. And World's Fairs aren't going on anymore, so it's kind of cool to have a piece of that history. This one does have a hole in it. Like, you'll often find that they have holes in them from thumbtacks when kids were displaying them or whoever it was, but that's just something that comes along with collecting pennants. So this one is really nice. I like this one. It's not in the greatest of shape, but it was definitely a cool addition from this lot. This next one is by no means rare, but I do like it a lot. It's a Florida pennant, and I love this style where the lettering proceeds to get smaller, larger to smaller. It has the illustrations inside of them. I particularly love this. I'm pretty sure this is like a 70s one, where there's illustrations that kind of look like borderline pinup in them. I just think that's cool because I really appreciate mid-century and pinup stuff as well. So whenever pennants feature other subject matter that I'm into, that's a bonus for me at least. I also love finding pennants that are in the same style because you can't see it from here, but in a wall in the living room we have a Wildwood, New Jersey one that will match this because the lettering is the same. And then when you display them beside each other, it looks like so much more cohesive and cool that way. This pennant is actually larger than normal ones, and it's Howe Caverns, New York. Maybe Ho, or How, I'm not sure. This is a cool one because it's vertical, and it has an illustration of the inside of the caverns and shows you like how many feet under it will be. And I guess they have, I'm not sure if that's like a tram ride or something in the water, but it's pretty cool. The illustrations on this are nice, and this one's in pretty good shape as well, so I was happy to find this. I don't really find many that are vertical that I like that much, but this is an attraction, so definitely cool to me. And the next pennant I found in this lot that I really enjoyed is this Pennsylvania one. And I'm from Pennsylvania, I live in Pennsylvania, so I like to collect them when I find them. And this is just one I don't have yet. And it has a bunch of cool illustrations on it of our highlights, like the deer are everywhere here. Amish country in Lancaster, Liberty Bell, Betsy Ross, Independence Hall, Gettysburg. Pennsylvania really does have a lot of landmarks in it, and I have so many Gettysburg, Philadelphia, other Pennsylvania pennants. But this one is just like pretty nice illustration wise, and once again with the colors. I'm basically showing you ones with all of the colors I really enjoyed. This pennant I actually had before, but my friend Olivia, I don't think she's just a Hershey's chocolate enthusiast, but she actually works for them in Hershey. I think she's a manager or something along the lines of that. She had reached out to me at one point because she really wanted Hershey pennants, and I sold her 3 of them, and I think this was among one of the 3 of them, Hershey's Chocolate World. And if you're not a Pennsylvania native, Hershey's Chocolate World isn't actually in the Hershey theme park. It's like a side attraction with a huge gift store, and they also have like a 3D show, all of this other stuff. So this is from Chocolate World, not the actual park, but it's very 70s or 80s, whichever one it is. And once again, the colors, like, I didn't really want to give it up when I gave her the Hershey's ones I gave her, but just because I know she loves it so much, I knew she would really appreciate it. So I did give her one of these, and oh, it still has the dollar tag on it. I love that. Like seeing how much people paid for them, because some of them are like 10 cents or something like that, which I guess if you think about it, this box lot was relatively cheap for each one because it was 51 of them for $10. So that's a really good deal. You don't always find that anymore. Another thing I really like about this one is that it features the old ride through Chocolate World. They remodeled it since. I think they remodeled it like 2 or so years ago actually. So it doesn't even look like that anymore. So this is a really cool one, and I'm happy I got it again. I'm not like a Texas enthusiast or anything. I've been through there in passing before when I went on a road trip to the West Coast. But I do like the illustrations on this, and yeah, it's a pretty solid one in my opinion. It's in good condition as well. So that was another cool one. This Busch Gardens pennant is my favorite one that I've come across thus far, because I found a few others of this theme park, which, yeah, it's in Virginia, which is relatively close to us in Pennsylvania, so I've been there a few times. There's another one of these that I come across a lot, and I just am not really a fan of it, but this one is really cool and fun with the lettering and the characters and the colors and everything. So I'm excited to have this to add to our wall that we have full of the amusement parks. This one. This next pennant is actually the only one in this lot that is this style specifically, and I really do love this style. It's an older one, I think like 50s is usually what these ones time period falls into. And this is Albany, New York, which I have been there. Originally when I started collecting pennants, I was like, okay, I only want to collect ones that I've been there. And now I have been across the US once, well, back and forth. So I have been to most states now, but I don't really hold myself to that. Like if I find a pennant with a really cool design that I like, I'll still pick it up even if I haven't been there. Next up is this Bear Mountain pennant, which once again has pretty cool illustrations. I love the classic vintage illustrations featured on these, and some of them, the designs are like more cohesive than others. Sometimes, you know what, it's the next one I'm going to show you, so I'll tell you about it then. But sometimes they'll have these like super cute aesthetic illustrations, and then in the middle they'll just slap in a text that's like so generic and doesn't go with it at all. But this one is really cool, the way they just put it all together, and I really appreciate when they have it looking so cohesive like that, and mainly just sticking to one aesthetic. So here's the next one I was talking about that style with. Like the illustrations on this are so beautiful and vintage, and I love them. And then instead of choosing one of the more like charming vintage looking scripts or like really nice lettering, they just chose like this run-of-the-mill font, which is okay, like it looks fine, but it would be better if it was a different font. Am I like too concerned about this? I don't know, but I think we can all agree it would be better with a more vintage font. It's still a really nice one. I love the beach graphics, and yeah. Next up on the pennants I'm keeping from this lot is one from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm not sure if I have one of these yet. Also, all of the ones I've shown so far, I don't have any of those, and mainly that's why I keep them. like unless I find a duplicate, I'll sell that in like a separate lot. But I like to keep the ones I come across that I haven't found yet that I like the style of. So all of the ones I've shown up to this point I don't have yet. So this one, Ohio is right next to Pennsylvania, and so I have been here before, and the graphics on this one are really nice as well. Love the font, love the style of it. Next up is Toby Tyler's Circus, 3-ring Circus, which I've never heard of, and that's interesting because, well, I'm not big into like circuses or anything like that. I know the basics, but I do have a few circus pennants, and I've never seen this one before, and it's a bit larger. I really love that clown. That's a nice illustration. So this is a cool one, definitely 80s. This was in some kid's room after he went to the circus. The next one is Dutchess County Fair from New York, which I've never been there, but I really appreciate the illustration on this one. I think this one is probably from the 50s or 60s, and it's probably one of the larger ones I've ever found of that style. So this one's really cool to me. I like the colors, even though they're a little more subdued than the neon ones I like. The style of it is just really nice together and very mid-century Pennant style classic. Next up we have, honestly I don't know how to pronounce this, if it's Opryland or Opryland, but this is now a defunct theme park. So Justin and I were super excited when we saw that this was part of the lot because it features a lot of parts of the park that are not there anymore, and it's in really good shape. It's been protected in this covering, and I don't really think these are that rare to come by or anything, but it's just a really nice design, and I think I've seen a few other ones of this park before, but I like this design a lot better. So this will be a nice addition to all of the theme park, amusement park pennants we have. So there's actually about like probably 30 more or so pennants in the lot that I'm not going to show you each one, but the other ones, there's a few duplicates of ones that I already have, so I'm just not going to hold on to them. I think I'll put them in a lot and sell them all together. And then there's a few that might have a little bit of value by themselves because there's a few sports teams like Knicks and Chicago Bulls, which I'm not into sports or collecting anything sport related at all, so I'm not going to hold on to them just because they're pennants. I think they might be in the value range from like 15 to 20 each, which is a nice profit off of $10 for the whole box, and then there's so many I'm keeping for myself already anyways. But another one I am going to sell is this Epcot Center one, which I do have a few Disney World and Disneyland pennants that I have to keep, and we actually did just sell 2 of them as well. Just because I've came across them so many times, I had a few of them, and I'm not a huge Disney person myself, so it's nothing I really need to hang on to. I would definitely go there, but I just know that someone else will appreciate this so much more than I do. Like, I love Knoebels theme park, which is in Pennsylvania, and Hershey Park, which I'm actually kind of tired of now, just because I've been there so many times in my life. Like, I'm 26 now, and I've probably been there, I don't even know how many times. I'll still go back. But the point is, I'm just not like a huge Disney theme park fan or anything like that. I really prefer going to county fairs and things like that. So I'm much more inclined to collect those pennants versus the big name ones, especially when I know that there's so many people that love Disney and would appreciate it more than me. But I didn't look this up or anything. It's just an Epcot Center pennant, and it's been preserved pretty well. So I'd say like at least 15 for this if I decided to list it, which someone had it marked as that. I don't know if these were in someone's store or what, because some of them have coverings and price tags on them, and maybe they went out of business or something and that's how they ended up at the auction, but I'm not sure really. That was just another nice one that was in the lot. This next pennant he had marked at $35, and I honestly don't know the value of it. Like, that might not even actually be the value of it or what it's worth, but it also has some stains on it, so I'm sure it's not worth that much. This pennant also has a few little stains on it, and once again, I don't know the value, but I will probably try to sell off a few of these sports ones together, just because I don't need them. There's also a Yankees pennant and a few others in that lot, but just I don't want to bore everyone showing every individual pennant, so I'm just gonna cut that off there. So while I could probably spend a few more hours talking about pennants, I think I'm going to break it up and just show you a few more of the yard sale finds we've came across recently, because I don't want to bore anyone with my whole extensive collection, and I can just show you some more another time. So here is a Halloween, it's not a blow mold, I think it's like, I don't even know what to call it, a plastic cutout. But personally, Halloween is my favorite holiday, like very close to Christmas. I love both of them, but vintage Halloween and vintage Christmas are some of the main things I like to collect. So this was a really cool find for 25 cents, just a quarter. And I know you could have gotten these things at drugstores or the dollar store back in the 80s or 90s, whenever this one's from. And along with plastic Halloween items, we also love blow molds, and I started collecting them a year and a half ago, but I like quickly realized that blow molds, while they're cool and I love them, it just takes up so much space to store them that we can't really collect that many. So we actually just sold a bunch of our Christmas ones on Facebook Marketplace, and I kept all of the Halloween ones that I really love, and I have a bunch of Halloween tabletop ones that I plan on keeping forever. And I have a lot of Halloween blow molds for the yard, which I also kept for now at least, just because we love Halloween so much. And Justin's birthday is actually on Halloween, which is cool. But yeah, anytime I come across vintage Halloween or Christmas at sales, I'm usually all over that, and I love finding things like this for such cheap prices. Another vintage yard sale find from yesterday is this Dolly Parton mug, which I'm not sure if it was a souvenir from Dollywood theme park or if it was just a mug, but it says, "I will always love you," and it's super cute, and I try to restrain myself on buying mugs because we have so many of those now too. So that mug was actually a quarter as well, and one of my favorite pennants, which I will insert a clip to show you then, is the Dollywood one that's behind me on this wall, and it's bigger and it has amazing graphics. So here is my Dollywood Jukebox Junction pennant, and this is another favorite of mine. I found this pennant last summer, and the graphics on it are just so cool. The little 50s diner drive-in. As far as yard sales yesterday, another cool thing we found were these vintage hair dryers. And they both came with their original cases, and they're a little dirty, but they were only $1 each. So So here's the first one. It is pink and still in the original casing, and it was $1. So I actually used to have 3 of the vintage hair dryers that are like the metal handheld ones, and I had mint, pink, and like a baby blue, and those were so cute. But one time when I was moving, I sold off a lot of the things I had, and so I don't have them anymore. But these are completely different than that. It's kind of like attached to a hairnet that you would put on to use the hairdryer, and then the machine itself is really cool. It says Imperial Lady electric hairdryer. In the leisure and privacy of your own home, enjoy the freedom and complete personal beauty care. Face, hands, underarms, and legs while you relax under your Imperial Lady hairdryer. It's a pretty cute graphic. I do love finding like vintage graphics and pamphlets as well. And it's cool when you find vintage things and the original instructions are still in it. And this next one is super cute as well. I mean, the graphics on the box are adorable, but it's really dirty, so I don't know if I'll be able to display that or not. The graphics are really cool though. It's just super dirty. You know, the back of the box is very torn up, so I'm kind of inclined to take the front of it and frame it and just hang that in our bathroom. That could be pretty cute, but we'll see. And this one also still has the insert in it. General Electric hairdryer. And this one's actually a bit dirtier, so I still need to wipe it off, but General Electric hairdryer, and this is about the color of our bathroom. So those were a really cute find at a yard sale yesterday, and they were $1 each. And there was also a really cute vintage cooler that I can't remember the brand of it, but it was like a large metal cooler with starbursts on it and everything, and it had started to rust. It was only 75 cents, but I decided against it because we were already getting a few things, and yeah, it would have been cool in the garden or like on the porch or something. Since it was beginning to rust, you couldn't really save it at the stage it was at. But thank you so much for viewing my first video on my new vintage channel here. And if you liked this and you enjoy all things vintage, please subscribe and like, and I will be coming to you very shortly with a bunch more videos, and I will continue to upload regularly. Yard sale hauls, collections, maybe some craft tutorials because I'm very into crafting as well, holidays and all of that sort of thing. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.